Hey there, folks. I am Kelly, and one of the organizers for the Speakeasy's online unconference for solo polyamory. I'm also one of the organizers for the Sopocos. I was the organizer last year and the year before, and then this coming year. And I have had a lot of questions about how is this unconference format going to work online. And I thought I'd make a short video here explaining how it's going to go for people. Yes, I'm driving, but I am obviously not looking at the camera, so I hope that this is a good shot. We'll see. I mean, I can look at it when I'm at a stop sign, but anyway, yeah, I guess so. The way that it's going to work is we're going to be on Zoom video conferencing, which for those of you who haven't ever had a meeting on like Google Hangouts or Zoom or something like that, everybody calls into the call and you can have your video on or off, and it kind of looks like the Brady Bunch on your screen. You can toggle the screen so that it looks like just the one person who's talking is on the screen, or you can toggle it to see a bunch of people on the screen, and it kind of reminds me of the Brady Bunch, but it basically is like doing a group video chat on Google Hangouts or on Facebook video chats, things like that. So it's not any different from that format, and we'll have everybody muting their audio while they're not talking so that there's not a bunch of background noise, because that can get a little overwhelming to have a bunch of noise when somebody else is talking. And then as far as the actual conference format goes, that is going to be essentially just like the in-person conferences, where we will start out with having everybody gather in the main meeting space room, and we'll have introductions. We'll go over code of conduct and terminology, like what is solo polyamory, which, by the way, for those of you who really have no idea what solo polyamory is, it is, if I can do this in a succinct way, it is, solo means the opposite of entwined, and entwined meaning living together, merging finances, marriage, entwining, with your partner in those kinds of ways. And then having a shared identity is part of it too, like saying we this and we that, so that's the entwined identity. And solos tend to either strongly shy away from those things, or at least if we do those things, it's very intentional and not as part of what's called the relationship escalator, which definitely look that up, because that is a good thing to learn, where if we love each other, we take the next step and you ride the escalator up to the top, which is like, if we love each other, then we move in. If we love each other, then we get married, that kind of thing. And solos tend to reject the relationship escalator, and if we do escalate in those kinds of ways, it is very intentional and not as part of the automatic ride up. So solos, like myself, don't live with a partner, or a lot of times don't even live with a roommate, but a lot of solos do live with a roommate, and then not merging finances with a partner, and not getting married to partners and things like that. And again, this is not all solos. There is a wide range of how you can be solo, and we will talk about that more at the conference. And I'll actually be breaking you up into smaller groups in the morning. Instead of having a big group discussion about that, we'll have small group discussions about those things, and then we'll come back into the big group and we will do our unconference session pitches. And the way that works is anybody who wants to facilitate a discussion or a workshop raises their hand, and we will go one by one, and you will give a 15 to 30 second pitch of your session and what you want, and what you want it to look like, and what the topic is. And I mean, 30 seconds is really not a long time, so we want elevator pitches, like if you're like, I want to do a discussion on solo polyamory and death/end of life stuff, and this will be a brainstorming session of ideas of different ways to do this when you don't have an entwined partner. this is not so that we can put you in your sessions. At that point, you're not, for all intents and purposes, you're not married to your votes at that point, but we just want to get an idea of popularity to a certain extent of the topics, so that when I'm organizing the topics into the breakout session schedule, I don't put all of the most popular ones all in the same time slot. You know, I want to put, stagger the most popular ones, so that people have a chance to go to the sessions that they want to go to. And then at that point, after we do the voting, then we will have our keynote speech by Rosalind Thomas. She is a friend in my community. She's in the solo community, and I got to know her when we were organizing the conference last year for the San Francisco unconference, and she is badass, and she does a blog called Loving Solo, and she's cool, does a lot of stuff, and I'll let her talk to you more about that. And then after that, we'll have a short break, and then we'll have our first breakout session, and that will be an hour and 15 minutes. The breakout sessions are technically an hour and a half, but 15 minutes of that is reserved for ending the session and break time. So really, we need to think about the sessions being an hour and 15 minutes with potential to go 5 or 10 minutes over, essentially. So, and then break time after that for lunch, and then we will have 2 more breakout sessions after that with a 15-minute break in between. And then at the end, we will gather back in the main room and talk about takeaways, what we learned, what we liked about the unconference format and the online format, and how to stay connected as a community, especially online. That seems to be tougher for some people. And then at 4 my time, I'm in Seattle, then we will end our session. And the breakout session, Zoom video conferencing platform allows for breakout sessions, and I can make different rooms and then assign people to the different rooms, so that the rooms are all separated from each other. So there's no, there's not 2 sessions happening at the same time in the same space. That would not make sense. So it's really cool how they allow us to separate people out into the different rooms. We can separate into as many rooms as we want, but there will probably be about 3 rooms happening at the same time. And attendees, unfortunately, aren't able to switch rooms by themselves. But if you message me privately, then I can, and you just let me know, hey, I actually don't want to be in this session, I want to be in this other session, then I can switch you very easily that way. And you can, I think, you should be able to leave your room and go back to the main room, and then go back into the room you were just in, I think. I haven't done this on such a big scale before. I've only done this with smaller groups, so it'll be a little bit of trial and error, but I've worked out most of the kinks in smaller groups. So, but yeah, if you just message me privately, then you'll be able to let me know that you want to switch groups, and that is fine to do unless it's a closed session, which there aren't too many of those that happen. There's usually 1 or 2 in a 2-day conference, and so there likely won't be any closed sessions. But if it was a closed session, then that would mean you join the room in the beginning, and then you're not allowed to join halfway through because of possible discussions happening that require you to be there the whole time, or from the beginning at least. So there's that. Basically, that is it. That is the unconference format. Anybody can run a session, and you don't have to know what you're going to run your session on ahead of time. You can figure it out on the spot. At all 3 of the previous conferences, I have realized during other people's pitches that I actually did want to run a session on such and such topic, and something reminded me of that, and so then I get up there and raise my hand or whatever, and then pitch a session right on the spot without without, planning ahead of time, and then was able to then plan a little bit for my session during the day before the actual session happened. So, and most of the sessions are discussions and brainstorming type discussions, and then story sharing type discussions. Since we have a little bit of a smaller group than the in-person conferences, there will be more time for storytelling. So I'm really excited about that, actually, because I think that the smaller groups make it more intimate, and we will get to know each other better, and that's awesome. Because when there's more than 60 people at a conference, it gets pretty anonymous. It's hard to meet people and get to know them at all, because every session you're in a group with different people, whereas the smaller groups, every session you're in the group with a lot of the same people, because it's such a small group. So I'm excited. I think the theme for this conference seems to be community so far, and I am excited to see how that plays out. It's an unofficial theme. We don't have themes for the conferences, but that is the unofficial theme, and we'll see how that plays out. And yeah, I'm excited to see everybody there, and hope you're having a good week, and we'll see you on Saturday.